Bum, bum,
Ba, ba, ba,
ba-da-da.
ba, ba, ba,
Bum,
ba,
ba-da-da-da,
ba,
da-da-da-da-da.
Hello, back to the Breath of Fiction.
Cue actual edit of Star Wars music that doesn't sound cringe over this.
Oh my
Cringe
god.
is our specialty.
Anyway, now that that's over with, welcome everyone.
Try and guess what we're doing this episode.
We are clearly doing Star Trek.
Yes, I love Star Trek.
Live long and prosper, that's all I know.
No, but seriously,
Martin
what
Luther
are we
King
doing today,
was a fan
GCC? Well, what are we doing?
We're introducing ourselves. Hi, my name is Dan, also known as DCC Rules.
I'm Get Snacked, also known as #1 Gajima Bro.
I'm Radicor, otherwise known as Stressed as Desserts.
And this is Sparta 789.
And he has a Spanish name, but we already know what this is, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're doing the fucking Star Wars AU, which I'm sure everyone is hyped for because it's Star Wars and Kimetsu no Yaiba, two of the best series for nerds ever.
Yes.
We shall see. Everyone says nerds, it was good for certain manga, and then manga faded into obscurity for some of the younger people. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
There's also just a long list of the best things for nerds. I mean, come on.
What do you think Ready Player One was? It was an ode to nerdship of the 80s. And even then, they couldn't fit in so many things.
Yeah, Ready Player One is like, the local slut. You think you can shove everyone in there, but you really can't.
No!
There's only too many holes before it become all filled.
Oh, great. Now my brain's on Ed and Eddie. The world has many holes.
No.
Okay, so now let's count. Let us count the holes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th one.
What are you doing?
It's 11/11. Make a wish.
Oh my god.
I miss Callie because Callie actually kept us on fucking track.
Yeah. That is calculus, though.
Callie has calculus. That's right.
They've gone from Lord California to Lord.
We're all older than Callie, so I think we should be responsible.
I don't think that's
everybody knows the real truth of the world is that adults are just a bunch of kids who just like to deny that they're kids.
Everyone knows millennials are the cause of every problem in the last 40 years.
Yes.
So basically, that's you because you're the only millennial here.
I am?
Yes. Technically, the rest of us are Gen Z.
Fucking kill me. Hey, Czar, how's it going?
Welcome. Welcome. You popped in. Let's go.
Hey, girl.
Whoa.
What? Oh. Okay. Hey, girl, I want to see with you. Never mind.
Anyway, if we're gonna do a Star Wars AU, I think the first thing we should start off with is: do you want to use any of the planets that already and species that already exist?
No. The first business of Star Wars should be who is Jar Jar Binks.
Wait, what if Gyoko is Jar Jar Binks?
I've actually made this joke before. This is going to be a lot of things dumped right away, but I want to say that Inosuke becomes the Jar Jar because he lived on Naboo. He was abandoned and raised by Gungans. He wears a Gungan head, and his name was originally Inosuke, but now he thinks his name is Inonosuke.
So basically, he can breathe underwater, though.
I mean, it's Inosuke. I'm sure he can breathe underwater even in canon.
I mean, he did. I mean, he couldn't survive the cold of the waterfall during the final during the arc training.
Well, that's just because he went into shock, not because he couldn't breathe underwater.
Yeah, but he
And
would he survive the cold temperature shock if he was underwater?
I don't really know. Also, yeah, Tanjiro did have to resuscitate him. Although, like, the cause of
Performing
that,
CPR on Inosuke is how that ship started.
although I'm not sure what caused him to have a cardiac arrest.
Little kids aren't supposed to have heart attacks, though. That's the difference.
Yeah, but if he was under enough stress, it could trigger, you know.
Anyway, get that MCAT stuff out of here. Let's go on.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already established would want to use some of the planets and from the Star Wars canon.
I
It
think
makes things easy.
Yeah, I think the one with the ram kangaroo thing is really cute, so we should keep that.
What?
The snowy and like the
That's
snowy
hot.
pack animal.
That's
Yeah.
you mean tauntauns. You want to keep the tauntauns.
Yeah. The tauntauns are cute.
They're so warm on the inside.
Yeah.
They are.
Just slice it open, you'll be all good.
Oh my god.
No, we slice up
Like-
the giant cookie monsters that are white in terms of the wampas. That's what we do.
You only say that because you watched Robot Chicken, don't you?
No, I say that because I watched Family Guy and they made Cookie Monster the wampa there.
Oh, right, that was
Other
Family
one.
Guy.
Not
two shows
that.
confused. Okay. Anyway, so since we already kind of jumped in on Inosuke and all that, some story thoughts that I've had on KOA X Star Wars that I think would be great is, once again, I love a healthy Duma Toha ship. I'm thinking maybe Duma and Kotoha were Jedi who lived on Naboo. Maybe they had like an Anakin Padme thing where, they had to keep it secret. It was eating away at Duma. He went the way of Anakin, where he turned to the dark side. And, he thought he lost his child, but she managed to squirrel him away to live with the Gungans. And Duma manages to kind of like hide his turn to the dark side and kind of like keep it on the down low. But he slowly starts to spiral down, and like late into the story, there will be a point where he just uses the force to kind of just freeze a lot of Naboo over, and Inosuke has to like confront him on like a frozen over Naboo and defeat his father, because that just seems so freaking cool to me.
So he goes Elsa mode. Okay, that
Yes.
sounds cool. Yes. Yes.
That's just
That sounds pretty sick.
It's just a storyline in my head that I was like, I love every aspect about this, and I'm going to show.
Okay. Well then. I would say, first of all, we all know one of DCC's like one of like preferred ships in KNY, apparently. And number two, I would think that, well, why not? Why do we have to go with this whole dark side thing? I mean, there's the idea that, in theory, attachment is really the whole reason why you can go to the dark side. It's the whole go against teachings. But technically, as we saw in Avatar, it's possible to love something without getting attached. So why can't we extrapolate that idea here?
Well, see, you're talking about two very different series here. See, in Avatar, what you're talking about is Aang is told, if you let go of your attachments, you can more easily control your power. In Star Wars, you are told if you have attachments, you are going to be evil. You are indoctrinated to feel that way.
No, but that's the point. Though. Technically, the act, it's not the end results that I'm considering. It's the very act of itself. You know what I mean? Because technically, you're saying that in Star Wars, it's you get attached, you have the potential to be evil, so to speak. But we only ever see that with Anakin because of this way the plot has.
What I'm trying to express to you.
Well, I mean, for Jedi at least.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's not attachments lead to the dark side. It's attachments which are repressed by the Jedi are one of the ways that the Jedi teachings can push someone towards the dark side.
Jedi sus.
Again,
Yes.
but that technically that means that's because they haven't achieved that level where they can learn to let go of the attachments before it corrupts them, because they keep it. Basically, they keep the attachments longer than they have to, but there's no reason that they can't have attachments but learn to let go of them when they have to.
I can literally go and argue Star Wars cultism for like an hour about this, but
No, I'm just saying, like, the very
Jedi
act.
that lead to the dark side.
No, but the
the
act
Jedi
of itself is that
dark
we
side
haven't
through
seen
repression.
that, though. That's the point.
And also, I love how you're trying to argue for this gray Jedi stuff, which fits you perfectly since your OC Masahiro is effectively a gray Jedi in KNY.
Pretty much.
That's the whole point. Technically, I was like, the entire thing is there's more gray than KNY ever let on, to be all frank, or rather, they didn't have the potential to address that gray, I feel, maybe because it was 200 chapters. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make things, see what would happen if we made KNY a little bit grayer. You know what I mean? Because we had like the things of
And
Tamaya
trust
and
me,
whatnot.
I completely understand that because I go at it from a different angle. I show both the demon and human sides in my AU so that you see the gray because of how each side darkens the other. But back to Star Wars, I do feel that you can have certain characters who would definitely fall more into the gray than into the dark side. Duma, I think, would fall into the dark side. Akaza, I think, would be forced into the dark side. But characters like Senemi, I feel like could be considered in the gray, or at least close to it. I feel like the closest thing I could compare Senemi to would be Mace Windu.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Quick shout out. It's about time we got Star Wars The High Republic instead of seeing the morals of the Jedi just screw them over every time. So let's go. Anyway, keep you moving on. I would
I'm not
think
shooting
like
down your gray Jedi stuff.
no, but here's a thought. In the Legends, because for those of you who aren't aware, Disney decided to retcon a bunch of material, written material, and like animated material from the franchise of movies and animated TV shows and certain novels. But
Because if it doesn't have the mouse, then it's out of the house.
Basically, if the mouse approval isn't stamped all over it, it's considered non-canon. But anyway, moving on. One of the things that we have in Legends is because I think we can try including Legends for Star Wars is we have it's not just Sith and then it's not just Jedi. Like you have the in between, so to speak. Like you have Dark Jedi, so to speak. Like like they're more of the like I would say they're kind of they're not exactly Sith, but technically they're the ones who try to use the dark side for good. Like they're not fully consumed by their selfishness, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they kind of occupy a middle ground. And then you also have things like Rogue Jedi. Yes, I know. Clever name. And
That's
then
a hero.
yeah, I knew that was gonna come out when I. And then you also have like things like within the Sith, like you have lighter Sith, like like you have the rule of two, but then you also had like the rule of one when you had the Sith Academy and whatnot, and you had a bunch of Sith under one master, and then some of those were closer to Jedi, so to speak. You know what I mean?
100%.
So do we want to try to include that, or should we stick to what we know in the canon? I say this with quotes because honestly, I hate the fact that Disney did this to us.
Okay, first of all, fuck Disney. We're going with that, okay? Just to fuck Disney over.
All right.
I'm fine with it.
I would have inherently leaned into those aspects. I just feel some characters are more straightforward than others. Because Duma and Akaza are both characters I feel their storylines are very represented as their turns to evil are highlighted by the loss of someone they love.
Okay. So then
that's why they
are we
so very traditional dark side lean.
So then can we have like the people like the what was it? The witches of what's it called? Fuck.
Yes.
Dathomir, the Dathomir witches. The Dathomir witches. Like the one where Maul and his people came from. Can we have those?
Absolutely.
Yes, that would be so cool.
Identifying the right characters for that.
Isn't that the demon from what movie? Sinister or something?
You mean the red one that just appears behind
Insidious, yeah. The Insidious.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just letting you know. I'm an after some others. I'm actually an encyclopedia for a lot of Star Wars Legends stuff. So this might be a bit.
I know a
mixed
lot of
in.
it too.
Yeah, just letting you, warning
But
you.
thinking about it, I feel like one of the closest characters I can think of to, well, there's two people who come to mind who could fit within the Dathomirian witches area. The first you can use Han Tengu, where you can view him as someone who has a lot of people under him. You could be considered, maybe he has sworn loyalty to Muzan, who is a Sith Lord, but he comes from his roots of leading a clan or a race of people because Hantengu as a character does have, those subsets below him. The other one who very good fit for the Dathomirian witches, specifically for a Towson role, is Tamayo.
Oh yeah, because like.
Well, Talzin's more
Yeah.
of a. She looks out for her clan, but she's not exactly evil. I mean, she did help Obi-Wan and Anakin to an extent instead of just killing them outright.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like, Tamayo, she's like.
Okay. So then, where do we? So do we want to say that Muzan moves from planet to planet, or do we want to have a whole Moraband kind of planet thing?
Well, do we want to? What role do we want Muzan to play in the story? Is he an overt Sith Lord, kind of more like Count Dooku was, or is he shadowy like Darth Sidious was?
I think just because if we're going to keep Muzan's personality relative to what we know in the canon, he's not a rule of two person. He's a rule of one, which is basically there's one master and then a bunch of apprentices in a sort of a Sith academy in the legends. That sounds more like Muzan to me more than anything.
Agreed.
So we could go the Old Republic route, where technically you had the Sith Empire versus the Old Republic, and then Muzan's leading the Sith Empire, so to speak. So everyone knows who he is.
Now, if we consider Yorichi, then we could say that we're slightly past that period. There was the big wars between, the Sith Empire and, the Old Republic, and then you could have the story of this gray Jedi or something who went against the teachings of the Order, but through his independent actions was able to wound Muzan and fracture the Sith Empire.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, I see.
Also, he has a red lightsaber.
I mean, he has red eyes, so we can say it goes into his lightsaber too. Why not?
What if Yorichi has a black lightsaber?
You want to give him a dark saber?
Or an ultraviolet one?
What color is his sword in KOI?
It's black, but like, how will we see like?
Wait, so you're saying Yorichi was a Mandalorian? Is that what you're saying?
Oh shit, that would be so
That
fucking cool.
It would be.
And that could actually make some sense because, he came from a samurai family.
Okay, I see. So then what would the Ubiyashiki be? Because they're lords, technically, of this, or nobles. Would they? Because let's put it this way: if we make Yorichi a Mandalorian, then we need something that's a bit like rich, and then but yet also like, how do I say this? Like a bit weak in terms of like a race. If we're gonna give that to like make Yorichi that, we could say that. Damn! I had an idea, but now it's eluding me because there's so many things.
Is it Yoda's race?
They're long lived, so like we could, if we want to do the whole irony thing, we could do that. Like they're a long lived race, but they die easily.
If we're gonna do irony things, a silly thought that came to my head is Gyome as one of Yoda's race.
Oh
So
my
he's
Yoda.
yes.
Yoda.
Except he's tiny. He's got all that muscle, except it's it's dense around him, so he's still tiny.
He's like Swogu.
Praise Buddha, I must.
Oh my god.
But
Namu, I must.
Namu Amida Butsu, I must say.
No, and then he has Raiden Tamimon abilities from a Shumatsu no Valkyrie, and then he can extend his make his muscles grow like that while still staying tiny relatively.
It has legs and arms that are bigger than his torso.
Yep.
Butsu Amida Namu.
But as regards to the Ubishikis, if we want to have them closely tied to the Sujakunis, we could say that they are the senators of Mandalore and that their family has held the, position of, Senate authority. Because we have seen that monarchies can be tied to the Senate in regards to Queen Amidala.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, technically, she was a senator after she was a queen, though. Like the ruler wouldn't send themselves as the delegation, technically speaking.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Now that I think
Well,
of, it's weird.
say
It's
that
it's honestly that's a bit weird. Now that I point that out, it's a bit weird what we see in canon. Because technically, like we saw in the Clone Wars series with Ryloth, technically senators are supposed to be like equal to the monarchs, but yet they're not. Like it's weird. Anyway, but moving on.
that's the secret subtext of Star Wars. There's a lot of fucked up political and socio-political stuff.
Yep.
They
Like,
gave
the-
corporations representation in the political senate. That was the downfall.
they let the fucking Jedi abduct children and indoctrinate them into a religious military order.
I mean, the Jedi could always leave, but at the same time, they did rip their children away. So,
But if you leave the Jedi Order, guess what you usually are labeled as?
a Sith, mostly, unless you're Ashoka Tano.
Exactly.
Well, she was a Padawan though, so weird.
Well, technically, she was banned from the Order, and she was pretty much labeled as a Sith or something. But then they realized, oh, she was innocent, so they're like, okay, just this once, you can get away with it, but you're not welcome back in the Order.
Well, actually, Kunlun Vos did leave and then eventually do his own thing. So he did go do like the whole rogue thing.
But you kind of get what I'm saying. Star Wars is very fucked up below the surface, and that's my favorite part about it.
No, I get it. I'm just pointing out the different specifics, like who it represents that.
Oh, this gives me a great thought. Thoughts for who you want to be the Jedi Grandmaster?
Like the Yoda of the group, you mean?
I mean, like currently,
Because I have a good idea, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay.
like currently,
Okay, so we've already made we already made the Ubiyashikis like close to the senators, rather that's what you suggested. It's not entirely certain. But if we're saying who's the Jedi Master, honestly I have a joke answer, but as far as a serious answer goes, I'm thinking
Tell me the joke answer first, then the serious answer.
the joke answer would be the guy who sells udon.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Murata.
No, Murata actually has some skill. The joke, but
Yeah.
but we all know that we clearly see from the first chapters of KNY the udon guy design among the Hashira, like in like that chapter, as he's like mentioned as part of the Hashira. So he's the secret master of everything in the story.
oh my god.
I
No,
do.
but my
I feel like
serious,
all 9 pillars should be like Jedi Masters.
if we're gonna
and
say no, my serious answer would probably be Tanjuro.
Yeah.
actually a really good one I didn't think about.
Okay, so then
Yeah, that makes
what was
sense.
your answer? What was your answer then?
Michikatsu.
So he can defect? That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
This is the great part. On the council, he's referred to as Michikatsu, but maybe, behind closed doors, he's referred to as Darth Kokushibu.
But would he have this? But would he have the control and ability to make himself seem like? Let's put it this way: he'd be on Palpatine levels of duplicity. At this point, if you're going to say like he's a Jedi and then he is technically a Sith back doors.
But the best part about it is, unlike Palpatine, he doesn't have a direct hand he has a direct hand in the Jedi Order. Palpatine had a hand in the Senate. This is putting the person in charge of the entire Jedi Order on the other team.
So it's like
And
Cyberpunk, what we did that time.
kind of. And the great idea about this is when he sees weak people like Duma or Hakuji, who he can manipulate, he can turn them to the dark side and bring them to Muzan. He's essentially turning the Jedi into a recruitment center for their enemy, underneath the eyes of the other masters, because they don't even realize.
So basically, Michikatsu is replacing Yoda and is essentially taking on Palpatine's role and is essentially being Count Dooku, except more successful.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
The
a bunch of
Star Wars
mishmash right there.
Well, I mean, you can do a lot of things with Michikatsu, to be fair. He was just.
He is admittedly one of the best characters in KMY, who just didn't have enough position or opportunity to live up to his potential.
Yeah.
Just like Gyomei, in all honesty, we don't ever see his personality.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I think that, well, here's the thing: if we still keep Yoriichi as like the god-like swordsman, like he was in KNY, for breeding users anyway, then how would Michikatsu be there? Like we would have to say either Michikatsu's dead or something. Or no, I'm sorry, Yoriichi is dead, not Michikatsu.
He probably is, honestly. No.
Even if he wasn't, though, we already established he went against the Order and fought Muzan.
Yep.
So Yoriichi can't be there. Whether he's dead or alive or just lost somewhere, he can't be on the council.
Yoriichi went to Mortis. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? That could work. Just because he went to Mortis, and technically he's alive, but he's been gone for thousands of years in real time, and then that would leave Michikatsu there as well. So we could say that, and then that's where we could introduce the idea that they're going there to train sometime, possibly. Because technically it's like, hey, Yoriichi, I'm not dead. Oh, Sneck muted. That's unfortunate.
Oh dear, that's not good.
I'll probably be back in a minute.
Yeah.
Where do we go next?
Okay, so all right. So in terms of the order, we have to consider. So where do we want if we're gonna?
Yeah, no, you go.
No, if we're gonna include that, where do we think Tanjiro should be, more or less?
I was actually going to bring up the same thing. I think there are two very good places. The first is, as you said, he would make a great person on the Council of Masters. He is a very powerful, interesting person. But it could also be that he was Yoriichi's Padawan.
I mean, if we're doing the whole Mortis thing, then that would be a change some tweaks. But if we could say that maybe Tanjiro was never on the council in any event anyway. You know what I mean? Like maybe he left after Yoriichi was if he was Yoriichi's Padawan and Yoriichi was gone, I would think Tanjiro would follow him. At least
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So then they wouldn't be on the council then.
But what if he wasn't his? What if he was his Padawan? He much like Obi-Wan, he moved up to the rank of Master over time, was on the Council of Masters, but then followed in his own Master's footsteps in a way. And as Juro left the Order, he started a family, and he realized how powerful his children were and wanted to protect them, because he'd come to understand how corrupt the Order was. He had, isolated himself, we could say on Tatooine or something.
This just turned into a Star Wars The Force Unleashed video game where you had two Jedi making a kid and leaving the Order and hiding somewhere with a bunch of Wookiees.
Well, I mean, yeah, except unless you want Muzan to, abduct Tanjiro and turn him into the ultimate Sith assassin.
And then Tanjiro dies, gets cloned, and the clone is like, oh, it's me, but it's not me. And I have a different name, except it's my code name. So it depends. I would think that honestly, from the way it sounds, I would if Yorichi was on the council, then he did a Qui-Gon, did his own thing, got kicked off the council, and then you're saying Tanjiro was an Obi-Wan and is more of a by the book person, and then he would have to leave, so to speak. You know what? If we did that, we could say that Obi-Wan was the Tanjuro, and then his wife was the Satine Kryze of Mandalore, and then they had a family on Mandalore, which would put them on Yorichi's home planet.
Mm-hmm.
Works too.
And
Like
since we know that the Kamado live in the house that Yorichi used to have with Uta, so that would make come full circle then.
Now, thinking about that, we can assume that the Tokitos are also a Mandalore and are also there. It could be that they end up growing up as close friends, maybe.
Or maybe they're on Tatooine.
Could do that too. Make them more like Luke and Leia. Maybe even split them up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're splitting up the siblings, except they look identical. So then when they see each other, they do the Spider-Man meme.
Oh my god, what just happened? Sorry.
About the Tokitos and stuff like that. Do you want to?
Aww. Oh, so they look. Yes.
I suggested that we put the Tokitos on Tatooine. DCC said we could do all Luke and Leia things, split them up, and then I said because they're identical twins, the moment they meet each other, unlike Luke and Leia, they'll know something's up, and then they'll do the Spider-Man meme reaction.
Okay, so one thing I tend to do just to simplify timelines is I don't make Kokushibu the Tokito's ancestor, but more like direct ancestor, so like father or grandfather. I think father works here really well.
What?
We
Well, actually, what if we do it this way? What if we do it so that technically he is Yorichi, like they maybe in Michikatsu was cloned. The clone became the grandfather of the Tokitos, and then it went from there.
What the fuck?
No, we have we have cloning stuff. Like we have the Jango Fett thing. Like technically, Boba Fett was a pure genetic clone of Jango Fett, but was considered the son, and he looked identical when they grew up. So we don't have to say that. We could say like instead of having kids, maybe just Kokushibo was cloned, and then that's why Kokushibo doesn't know about them because technically the clone had kids, who in turn had kids themselves. But genetically speaking, he is the grandfather.
Okay, I see what you mean there now. That makes more sense because I was gonna say if you make like even in Star Wars, a lot of the characters have rather mundane lifespans. Yes, Yoda's race can live to 1,000 years, but your average alien, your average species in Star Wars has a lifespan of like 1 or 200.
I mean, unless you're a human. A human tends to live a little bit less, like around 100-ish or so. Maybe.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, you shrink the time span a little bit. That's why I said father. But if you have it that he's cloned as a kid, that could work too. What I was going to say is maybe Kokushibu did, fall in love with a woman, have a good relationship, but then the woman learned he was a Sith Lord and turned on him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was gonna suggest that they did honestly, there was a video game that came out for Star Wars, for the DS, and it was called what was it called? Elite Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron, and in the thing, apparently the main characters are clones of a Jedi, and they didn't know that until eventually later in the story when they met said Jedi, or at least one of them, the good one, did. So in theory, we could have. That's what I was suggesting. Like technically, if you want to make Yorichi a grandfather of the Tokitos, we don't have to do it directly because technically, if we make something like that, like eventually Yorichi was cloned because of some weird thing, and then the clone ended up having kids and then having kids, it would still make Yorichi the genetic grandfather of said kids, of the Tokitos, so to speak, because technically the clones would have identical DNA.
You kept saying Yorichi. Did you mean Michikatsu?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I forget sometimes Michikatsu. I think it's just because Michikatsu is longer to say than Yorichi, but I mean like Michikatsu, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they clone everything I just said except Michikatsu. The Tokitos are technically the grandchildren of Michikatsu's clone, but that still makes Michikatsu their genetic grandfather.
Now, in the case of that, the one thing where I'm kind of like, meh, is you can justify, a strong Sith Lord wants to, see if they can clone themselves just in case they die. But then Muzan would be the one doing that, not really Michikatsu. So I don't know if that would
Well,
look.
here's the thing. In canon, look, God damn it. Somewhat in canon and in the legends. Anyway, but and I'm sorry, I have to acknowledge that. But anyway, what I was saying, we see when Palpatine was originally cloning himself, and we see in some other legend stuff, the stronger attachment you have to the dark side, or rather, the more selfish and giving into it, the more your clones tend to be screwed up. So technically, we could say that Muzan's powerful, but that power makes cloning him extremely difficult because cloning a force sensitive is never easy. But they did note that those who are balanced, like Jedi, and if we say Michikatsu is duplicitous enough, and he would have the duplicity and balance to have stable DNA of a force sensitive that could be cloned. So it would be more like Muzan is trying that, but he's failing because he's too powerful. But since Michikatsu is more stable emotionally and from a force sensitive standpoint, it succeeds, and that's why it succeeds.
Yeah, that's fair. Muzan is way too capricious.
Does that make sense,
Okay.
DCC, to you? As to why
So
justification
then,
wise?
here's the storyline I think of for that. Muzan tries clone, it fails. Michikatsu says, "Let me try. Let me see if I can perfect clone." He's able to clone himself, but the clone is very powerful and breaks free and gets lost. Michikatsu assumes it dies because probably it was cloned on Camino, and Camino is fucking filled with storms, and it's easy to drown there. But the clone survives. It manages to get onto the world, have a life for a while. But then it's found by a Jedi, let's say either Tanjiro or Yorichi or someone similar in that vein, someone who knows more but isn't ready to speak or act on it because they don't know if they can pull it off, if you will. So they know that this isn't Michikatsu. They understand what they're looking at. And they tell him, listen, you're gonna fuck shit up. If things are bad, you know. Whether this person is good or bad, maybe they're trying to kill this clone, maybe they're trying to hide this clone so that they could use them. But they either kill or bring this clone underground. The clone has children, but doesn't really know about it. Someone separates the children. How can we sort out these details?
I mean, I was gonna say like they did the whole cloning thing, but they could have had like a whole the Kaminoans like were kind of screwing around. They kind of it was we could also have that maybe the first few like let's put it this way. What if we had something along the lines of even though Kokushibo were more stable, the majority of them were still like in machines, but they're making progress, kind of like a whole West world, like trying to make the copy from the memories kind of thing. But so in there's technically as of current canon, they're still trying. But what they didn't realize, at least the Kimonos didn't realize, is that one of them did succeed, but that entire series was marked for death via like genetic injections. But because that one individual from the series was unaccounted for, rather they were just lazy and oversight, it survived and then it found its way off world unmistakably. You know what I mean? So we can avoid like the whole like they would because I feel like the only problem with your it's a powerful clone escaping is that I feel like they would have kept better eyes on it and watched it or tried to find it. But if we make it so that it's a random event like we do see in certain things, because we know that they have to twist some of the DNA from the animated series in order to make different kinds of clones. So maybe just an accident, so to speak, and then that clone still powerful but latently, but it found its way off and survived the euthanization because it was genetically distinct but different enough from the other series which went overlooked. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I, for one, think this clone should maybe evolve over time to look like Mr. Tokito. You know what I mean?
Well, if it's a 100% clone of Yorichi, it would look like Yorichi then.
Yeah, but like, maybe the
Michikatsu.
hairstyle is different.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm sorry. Michikatsu, yeah. It would look like Kokushibo. I'll just use Koku because I don't want to say Michikatsu. Anyway. It looks like Koku. At least it would look like Koku facially. Maybe the hairstyle is different, but it would somehow, because it was overlooked, it eventually found its way. It eventually found its way over to. It found its way over to Tatooine or something, because it survived and it just like managed to escape on like a departing like shuttle or something.
Yeah, yeah. It was like derp. I'm gonna go.
Wait, if we do the whole Luke Leia thing, then do we want to say the stormtroopers or Muzan had the kids killed, but only Muichiro survived again?
I don't know. I think it'd be even more fun to say they get separated. Yuichiro gets found by um the Sith or by Kokushibu himself, while Muichiro gets found by the Jedi, or more specifically, he's brought in by Tanjiro, or maybe he goes with Genya, who might not be a Jedi but is more of a Han Solo character.
Then we can
Or
work.
Oh,
Then we could
yeah.
do it. Then we could do it something like eventually, we could do something along the lines of the parents still die on Tatooine. Yorichiro and Muichiro are separated, but Yuichiro with the Y, Yuichiro ends up like getting found by someone who's coming for his force sensitive, and then they alert Michikatsu. But since Yuichiro, or rather Muichiro, is still at the homestead, which is far away from civilization, so to speak, he doesn't get found, and he just thinks his brother's gone missing. You know what I mean?
okay, fun thought time. I just mentioned Genya as Han Solo. It could be great to have Muichiro not even study at the Jedi Order, but just kind of have a lightsaber that he finds around, or that was gifted to him or something. And he's the kind of Jedi who kind of like figures things out for himself. Who is Chewbacca?
No,
Who do
wait.
we
What
make?
if Muichiro joins the Tusken Raiders or Jawas, and then he finds his lightsaber there?
That would be great.
That'd be very good.
Yes, that's perfect. Okay, Chew.
Actually, you know what? That would if he joined the Tusken Raiders, then we could say like that's where he gets his fighting skills. But then that's why no one found him because he masks he covered his eyes and whatever because that's what we see in canon. But if we say he went with the Jawas, that's where he did find the lightsaber, so to speak, when they were raiding Jawas, maybe.
I had a really dumb brain thought. Choo Choo Maru.
Why did
What
you
was
bring
that
this?
again?
Why did you bring the weird sword from Konosuba in here?
No,
Yeah.
no, no. Chacha Maru.
Chichimaru. Yes.
Chacha Maru.
Except this
Chichimaru.
Chewbacca has a calico patterning with his fur.
Yes, yes.
But I feel like if we do that, we have to have Yuichiro be around. I mean, not Yushiro be around.
Yeah. I feel like does that mean Yushiro is Han?
Maybe Tamayo sent Chuchumaru to travel and Yushiro to travel with Genya for some reason.
Give me a minute. I'm thinking justifications. So
Okay, give a minute.
we could have it that, let's say that Yushiro is equivalent to Darth Maul. In that Tamayo, if she's the Towson character, made a deal with Muzan to keep him off her back. She, this, Sith assassin of her own creation. But it was never really meant to be Muzan's, but to kill Muzan. And when he fails, he's left for dead, where he's saved by Chuchumaru. The two kind of go underground, become smugglers. That's where they run in with one of the best pilots of the galaxy, Genya Solo. and that's how they become a crew.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I mean, so we're still keeping the fuck, what is it for Chachamaru? The Chewbacca thing, what you call him?
Chuchumaru.
Again, all I hear is the Konosuba sword that Megumi names. But anyway, Chuchumaru. Anyway. Yeah, no, but literally just add an end to that, the two ends to chew, and then that becomes the sword, the weird sword. But anyway, the only thing is that personality-wise for Chewbacca, I feel like if we're gonna extrapolate that to Choo Choo Maru, or at least try to give him that, then the whole idea of like the crew, the life that like we see in the Solo Star Wars movie would have to be completely deleted, so to speak.
Well, we don't have to one-for-one things. It's more like filling in similar roles.
Yeah, but I feel like there should be like, let's put it like, if we keep like the whole relationship dynamic between Chewbacca and Han Solo, I feel like either we would have to have Yoshiro be Han Solo, or we'd have to have somebody else be Han Solo instead. Or hello? Uh-oh. Hello? Hello?
Yushiro is Han or Yushiro is Lando.
Hello? Can anyone hear
Form
me?
a pair.
Okay,
Okay, you
Rad's
back?
back. Hooray.
I have no idea why, but my internet decided to just cut out. I noticed the thing turned red, and then all of a sudden, I just realized, oh shit, my internet's gone. Oh well,
It went to the dark side.
So much.
I'm gonna have to rip off the Let's Play technical difficulties thing now. I mean, don't sue me, but anyway, moving on.
You have my audio too, so.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Good.
What
And
were we
my
talking
ex.
about?
I was saying you can justify that relationship by remembering that it's not a two-person relationship, but a three-person relationship, as it's Han, Chewbacca, and Lando. All three of them are a pair. So you can either say that Yushiro or Genya fill the Lando or Han roles, and the three of them are a tight-knit pair.
Okay. I mean, all right. I see what you mean. Okay, but then so wait, then who is Lando again?
Lando Calrissian?
No. What character did we decide to give Lando's role to?
Either Yushiro or Genya.
So basically, that means up until The Force Awakens, Yushiro or Genya was the only black person in Star Wars.
It's appropriate for either character, really.
Oh my god.
Did you hear
Wait,
that,
is that
Snack?
Mace Windu?
Did you hear that, Snack? Please don't.
Wait,
I
what
mean-
about?
I mean, Mace
Wait,
Windu's
what
kind of dead.
Oh yeah, but wasn't he? Oh, never.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Up until the Phantom Menace, if up until the Phantom Menace, that would make Genya or Yushiro the only black character in Star Wars. Anyway,
My god.
moving on.
But I'm kind of seeing now like two converging, not necessarily converging yet, but two main stories we can tell here that can kind of flow together. It almost as if merging the prequels with the original trilogy, where you have your rogue characters, that's your Genya, Muichiro, Yushiro, and Chuchumaru or Chuchubaku, whatever you want to call them. And then you have your classic Jedi stuff going on in the Jedi Temple, where you can have, Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, Inosuke, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, want to create a story that kind of blends these two together.
I mean,
We could have the Kessel Run play a role in this.
Okay.
Oh yeah, isn't that the race? Is that it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The race. Where were you for Star Wars? The solo of
I'm
Star Wars.
so sorry. The only Star Wars knowledge I have is the prequels.
You
Which
do
I
realize
got.
that when they say we made the Kessel Run in less than XX things, it means that they traveled less distance, not in time, right?
Yeah.
Oh what?
Are you the type of
Kessel
person who
Run.
thought a light year was a time instead of a distance?
No, I knew a light year is a distance, but I don't know like Star Wars terminology that well because
I forget
don't
though.
know
The
the
Kessel
series
Run.
that
That
well.
was
Well,
a smuggle
okay, so
or
for those
hyperspace lane.
no, here's what it was. The planet of Kessel was a refinery for certain ores and materials. And it was also a prison mine for slave
Oh,
camp.
wasn't it that weapon thing? That mass
Yes.
weapon?
Yeah, but anyway, moving. Yeah, but the
Oh.
thing is that it was surrounded by like a gaseous cloud that had only one real route to the planet's surface, because otherwise you would encounter like huge shards of ice from different gases, and then like even some monsters like we saw in Solo, a Star Wars movie. So
Mhm.
up until that point, getting from
Mhm.
Kessel to the outside of Kessel, because it was in a system, was considered only one way. Even though, in theory, if you could avoid all the ice, you could make it in less distance, and that was the Kessel Run, so to speak. Because Han Solo said, "Screw," like he said, "Fuck the whole going the normal route, and we're gonna escape through the gas," and then he did.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
I believe in the original script, Obi-Wan actually says, like, your misuse of units of measurement is certainly impressive.
Yeah, because it means he as we saw in Solo, a Star Wars story. It clearly was like they dodged a lot of bullets there, including a monster
Yeah.
and making their own black hole for whatever reason.
Your misuse of measurement is certainly very impressive, Mr. Solo.
Yeah, moving on.
But more to the point I was trying to make is, in what ways do you think you can create a twofold story here? Do you have more the political intrigue from the prequel style of the Jedi drama? Meanwhile, you have these rogue characters kind of flashing in and out of conflicts between this shadowy resurgence of the Sith Empire and the Jedi trying to restabilize the galaxy.
Just do both
Mhm.
of them. You have a war, and then you have politics screwing it over on the
Yeah,
other
like
side.
you can let the kids do the war and the adults do the politics.
Basically, the entire galaxy
Okay.
is World War II, except the politicians are screwing themselves over by trying to
Yeah.
integrate their side.
But I'm merely saying, like, because we already have these two kind of perspectives on society, should we try and, like, from the characters' natural positions that we've discussed so far, like, if we do in part two of Star Wars, should we start off by kind of refining this into a unified plot, where it's almost like in Clone Wars, I feel like you see this a lot. Well, actually, in all of Star Wars, you see this a lot, where it's almost like they split the party.
I mean, if we wanna, we don't have to keep it as one coherent story. I mean, even in the films, we do see them splitting off to do the different subsections, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like it's in like the manga, it was always like Tanjiro. We're around Tanjiro, but in like certain things, like we see in One Piece, where they switch between different character viewpoints from time to time, not just centering around
Yeah.
Luffy. Like we can have that, if you know what I mean.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean, we can split back and forth, but we don't have to keep it just the whole linear progression Star Wars. Like we can just
Yeah.
keep it like what we do in regular Star Wars, where they jump around viewpoints.
But yeah,
Mhm.
we're kind of close to finishing up here. Any last thoughts you guys want to focus on, and then we can go into more details in a second episode?
Mhm.
Actually, I had one thought, so give me a second.
I have a
Yes.
final thought
Do we
too.
want to have space battles with fighter
I mean,
jets and whatnot?
them.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
then,
They do
how do we?
exist.
No. So then, how is it? So are we gonna do like the whole Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, where apparently you can use the Force to rip out a star cruiser, like a 3,000-ton star destroyer, out of the
Yes.
sky, and then that's how they battle? Or do we want to have more like what we see in the films, and where even a person who's not a demon or a Sith or whatever can just shoot somebody down, like we do in Order 66?
I mean, sure, we can just do both of them.
Yeah, we possibly could.
So basically, we're saying the demon, like the Sith and Jedi, are powerful, but not that powerful. Where people with blasters and guns can still beat them. Han Solo would be proud.
Yeah.
Han Solo would be
I
proud.
mean, the thing that ultimately made the Jedi vulnerable in Order 66 was that they were outnumbered. A sword can only, like a lightsaber can only deflect so many blaster bolts.
Oh no,
Even
no,
a
I'm not
very-
referring to that. I'm referring to like the fact of space battles. Like for example, in the fourth film, we still see Darth Vader going into a fighter, and Han Solo like knocked him out. But in theory, if Han Solo had shot Darth Vader then and there, despite the fact that Darth Vader has force powers and is a Sith, he probably would have died. Like that's what I'm referring to. Like, do
Yeah.
we want to basically, even though we know that Sith and Jedi are powerful, or the demons, do we want to make them less powerful in reference to space battles and spaceships fighting each other?
The honest truth is that a lot of Force users are simply limited by their imagination.
Yeah,
It's
hell no. Just do what's the coolest thing.
So
And the coolest
basically,
thing
okay.
here, yeah.
what,
We're
I,
gonna
what I'm
rip.
saying is stick to what's most probable for the character. I mean, if you watch the Gendy Kartovsky Clone Wars series, it ends in one of the final scenes is Mace Windu force crushing uh, Grievous's chest. It's the justification for the reason why Grievous is coughing the entire third film because he just nearly got killed by Mace Windu.
Oh no,
We
but no, but that's relative to his to Grievous was like when Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, we see a guy sitting on the ground of a planet using the Force to rip a thousands upon thousand ton starship that would be much harder than Grievous's chest down into the sky.
I know. Let me continue because I can get to that in a second. What I was going to say after that was we also see things like maintaining homeostasis and catching blaster bolts and lightning. There are a lot of powers that people use that aren't often used, and the reason they're not often used is people don't think about using them. The Jedi education is very strict, and the Sith mindset is often equally as strict because it comes from very similar places. If you look at even Episode 5, you can make the same comparison between the X-wing and the Star Destroyer. Yes, one is much larger, but what does Yoda say? Do or do not. There is no try. It's not the size that matters. It's merely exerting your will. It is what you think you can do.
It also depends on, like as we saw in the eighth film, how powerful your force spirit is, or rather, how much your stamina and your life force is. Because Luke could only maintain that projection for so long before he faded away, because his life force gave out just for him doing it. So, in theory, we could like the reason I'm saying is like in theory we could have it so that they can do these, but the majority of it is just the weight and mass for at least the less powerful ones, or at least the ones who aren't like as gifted, so to speak. It would probably
Yeah.
kill them within a second. So, like maybe someone who like a generic Jedi could maybe move an X-wing for 3 seconds before collapsing from exhaustion or just outright biting the dust. Not like someone like
Yeah.
Galen Marek from like the Force Unleashed.
It, like with most power systems, the two main factors are, stamina and, just what you think you can do. That's always what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's not like Green Lantern style willpower though. Like in theory, you can create a miniature sun from your Green Lantern ring. Though it depends. Like there's a limit.
Honestly, though, Yorichi ripping down an X-wing would be pretty fucking.
Honestly, I was gonna
dope.
say like, why don't we just get Yorichi to be able to rip down the Death Star at this point? Because it's smaller than a moon.
Exactly.
Just crack it like a freaking egg.
Yeah, basically.
He just headbutts the planet and kills
No,
the
that's
entire.
Tanjiro just focuses the force into his head and just bam!
The Death Star doesn't fire laser beams. It just fires a really fast headbutting Tanjiro into this planet, and then it just explodes.
Oh god, it's fucking Honda from
that
Fire
could be a subplot. Like they capture Tanjiro, and they like prepare to launch him from the Death Star to destroy a nearby planet.
We have acquired the ultimate weapon. What is it? This boy's forehead.
And then everyone else tries to like rescue
and then he's
him.
and then he's like, yes, we have it. Thankfully, though, we didn't kill this. We only killed the spare of his mother. We didn't kill the actual weapon when they captured Tanjiro for whatever reason.
What was I gonna say? Quick question: if you load Honda from Fire Force and Tanjiro into a cannon, point them at each other, and fire, what's gonna happen when their foreheads collide?
The Big Bang happens again.
Yeah, exactly that.
Any other closing thoughts?
No, actually, I was gonna say like they collide. The force makes a black hole. The black hole rapidly shrinks and implodes in second Big Bang. But I would say, I think for the next episode, if we do one, we have to address the power balance, or rather, like how powerful certain Jedi and like the general like theme between Sith and Jedi are, and relative to the technology and space battles that we're gonna have. That we said we want to include in here.
Okay.
But beyond that, this was a good episode for me.
Yeah.
Very jokish. I like it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Anything from you, Sparta?
I mean, no, not really. I'm just really interested in how this develops.
I mean, I felt like I just kind of joked around with it for most of the episode anyway. So we'll see how. That's probably going to be the theme of the second one. But anything from you, DCC?
I'm looking forward to getting more into character design and development. I mean,
same.
What kind of fighting style would someone like Zenitsu use? Can you do Yaido with a lightsaber? You can, of course, I'm sure. Does Uzui dual wield? Are any of them not human? What kind of creatures do they look like? Just a lot, little details that I love.
I thought we already agreed on Gyota for this one.
Yes. So are we going to say that Gyota? So wait, are we going to say that Gyota was either blind or Gyota got cybernetic eye implants?
And keep him blind. He probably doesn't want the implants. He's probably like,
he sees with the Force. He sees with the Force.
He has a keen instinct. That's all.
So basically, what we also mean is that when Uzui gets his hand and leg cut off, they just give him a cybernetic implant and say, like, continue. You're on. Keep going.
I mean, they could. Like, Luke got a prosthetic. Maybe, but, like, if Uzui just wants to retire, like,
Can we have a Mortis arc where they basically have all the ghosts of their past manifest, and then we see all the dead characters manifest when they go to Mortis?
Oh my god, yes. What else?
I just imagine Kokushiba steps foot on Mortis, and then like within a minute, it's just a swarm of like ghosts. He's like,
Force ghosts. Bye. They have to be Force ghosts, though. Sadly, not the dead people ghosts.
Yeah, I'm sure he still killed many Jedi.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Yeah, that's also possible. Oh wait, that reminds me. What are the crows? Are they going to be Are they going to be those weird things from Skellig Michael?
Porgs?
Yeah, they're going to be porgs. Is that what we're going to make them?
I mean, indicators, but I mean, if you want to give them all, fine with me.
Yeah, but like porgs are not
Hello?
very fast.
Ah, crap. My.
They
Oh, no.
throw them at each other.
What was that?
Oh no, my internet started to get slow,
Oh
so I
my
just
God.
heard Snack's voice in a pixelated form.
We lose him again?
Yeah, maybe.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Maybe that's a sign that we should wrap up.
Yeah.
Oh crap. Hello? 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 Can anyone hear me? Hello? Hello?
There he is.
Oh my goodness. What is my internet
Brad,
doing? What is my internet doing to me today? I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Kicking you in the balls.
Nah, unfortunately my balls already got kicked. There's nothing there for them to hurt anymore.
Oh, that's bad.
What?
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, so that excluding for everyone excluding like the whole time zone, there's going to be a technical difficulty sign warped over this video. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Breadth of Fiction on the Star Wars AU. Probably gonna have another second episode, and that's as always that's been from us. So until next time, see you guys. Bye bye.
Have a good night. Thank you for listening or watching or whatever.
Basically, and putting up with our bullshit.
Yes.
I was actually wondering, how would Mitsuri's sword work, or how would Yomi's like weapon work? Would you attach like a laser blade to an axe handle? Like, how would the big spiked ball work?
And it's like the ring lightsabers from Spaceballs.
Wait, did we stop recording?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
stop recording, so I'm good.
Oh.
But anyway, everyone just say goodbye again. Bye bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.